There's an incredibly potent force you're utilizing right now, likely without even noticing. It's not meditation, not journaling, and certainly not the manifestation techniques popularized by social media. It's your concentration, not your effort, or work ethic, just your pure focus. Because the truth is, your focus shapes your reality. It's not a metaphor, it's literal. What you concentrate on grows, and what you overlook diminishes. Here's the catch. Most individuals are fixated on precisely what they don't desire. They do so with remarkable consistency, focusing on past hurts, perceived lack, and feelings of stagnation. Then they're bewildered when life continues to present them with more of the same. But there's a subtle yet crucial detail often overlooked, a psychological blind spot that has been quietly guiding the course of your life. It's not merely about positive thinking. That's too superficial. It's about comprehending how your mind filters reality and why that filter might be undermining your growth without your awareness. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but your life still seems stuck in the same issues, this insight might just be the wake-up call you need. Stick with this because in a few minutes, you'll begin to see how the smallest shifts in focus can transform your reality into something you genuinely want to experience. You're not perceiving the world as it is. You're seeing it through the lens of your primary focus. It's akin to walking around with the camera fixed to your forehead, perpetually zoomed in on whatever emotionally captivates you. The astonishing part is that most people never zoom out. Let's break it down. Your brain isn't an all-seeing oracle. It's a pattern-seeking tool with limited capacity. With billions of bits of information coming at you every second, sounds, colors, textures, smells, micro-expressions, inner thoughts, emails from that one person who still double spaces after a period, your brain can't process it all. So, it filters relentlessly, keeping only what matches your internal world and confirms your existing beliefs. If you're secretly convinced that life is unfair, your brain will highlight every missed opportunity, every lucky person, and every slight inconvenience that feels personal, reinforcing your belief. Conversely, if your mind is focused on progress, even the smallest signs of it, you start noticing moments you used to miss, a new opportunity hidden in a problem, a stranger's kindness you would have ignored, the fact that you handled something well today. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's neuroscience. It's called the reticular activating system, a small part of your brainstem that acts like a filter for your reality, influenced by your focus. If you keep playing the same emotional tune, I'm behind, I'm not good enough, I'm stuck, your brain will show you a matching reality. But here's the twist. You can hack this system, not by ignoring the negative, but by redirecting your spotlight. You start telling your brain, I'm more interested in solutions than drama, more focused on progress than perfection, more concerned with growth than blame. Suddenly, your mental lens starts capturing different angles. You're not changing reality. You're finally seeing more of it. And when that lens shifts, your external world starts aligning with your new perspective. So, why do we keep focusing on what drags us down? It's addictive, not in a fun way, but in a quiet, self-sabotaging way that feels like control. Focusing on what's wrong gives your mind something to grasp. Feeling in control of something, even if it's your own suffering, is often easier than facing uncertainty. Focusing on growth means confronting your blind spots and admitting that the narrative you've been clinging to might not be the full story. The mind resists this, preferring familiar pain over unfamiliar peace. This is why many people say they want peace but end up engaging in arguments, chasing unavailable people, or replaying old conversations. It's not because they're broken, it's Because the mind serves familiarity, not peace. What you repeatedly focus on becomes familiar, even if it's draining you. You have to train your focus like a muscle. If you don't, the world will hijack it. The algorithm, the news cycle, the person whose validation you're still seeking. They're all competing for your mental energy. If you don't start choosing what gets your attention, you'll spend your life exhausted by what you didn't choose but kept consuming. When people ask, why does nothing ever change? The answer is usually quiet, subtle, and uncomfortable. Because you never changed what you were looking at. You never paused to ask, is this even worth my focus anymore? Or has it just become a habit? Here's something no one really teaches you. You are allowed to change what you focus on without asking for permission, without an apology, without waiting for things to get so bad that you're forced to. But most people only shift their focus after hitting some emotional rock bottom. They wait until burnout becomes their lifestyle, until anxiety is just part of the daily routine, until the weight of everything they're carrying finally makes them collapse. Then, and only then, they start wondering if they shouldn't be focusing on everything at once. But what if you didn't wait that long? What if you started now, training your focus the way you train your body, or your diet, or your standards? Not by doing something dramatic, but by choosing what you don't feed. That one thought you always run back to when things feel uncertain. Starve it. That emotional spiral you ride every time someone disappoints you. Starve it. That internal voice that says you're behind, you're not enough, you'll never get it right. Starve it. And instead, even if it feels weird at first, start feeding what feels light. Even if it's just a 1% shift, even if it doesn't fix anything instantly. Because that tiny shift in what you give attention to, that's not fluff. That's compound interest for your mind. You focus on what builds you, even in small doses. You start attracting things that align with that focus. Not magically, but mechanically. You start spotting better decisions, walking away faster from what drains you, hearing criticism differently, and responding with clarity instead of defense. You wake up one day and realize you're not haunted by the same stuff anymore. Not because the world got easier, but because your mind stopped being obsessed with what was wrong all the time. When you finally shift your focus toward what you actually want to feel, what you want to create, what you want to become, that's when the needle moves. Not because you tried harder, but because you stopped watering what you secretly hated. This gets personal because it's not just about mindset. It's about your identity, the version of you that you keep reinforcing every single day without realizing it. Focus isn't just shaping your reality, it's shaping who you think you are. If you spend every day focused on your mistakes, your flaws, your shortcomings, you start believing that's all you are. Not because it's true, but because it's all you're paying attention to. The mind is loyal, too loyal. It'll keep showing you the same version of yourself if that's what you keep asking for with your focus. But that version of you, the tired, anxious, constantly doubting version, might just be a reflection of your most practiced thoughts, not your truth. When that hits you, it's a little uncomfortable because you realize you've been arguing for your limitations with the kind of passion most people reserve for their dreams. You've been building a home in your pain and calling it personality. You've been focusing so hard on surviving that you forgot to ask, am I even living a life I recognize? But here's the wild part. You don't need to overhaul your entire mindset overnight. You don't need a vision board or a 7-step plan. You just need to interrupt the pattern. When your mind starts going back to the familiar spiral, you say, not today. Today, I'm choosing to focus on the version of me who's moving forward, even if they're crawling, even if they're confused, even if they've failed 18 times already, because at least that version isn't obsessed with staying in the same place just because it's familiar. And yeah, it'll feel unnatural at first. It'll feel like you're faking it. But that's not lying. That's rewiring. It's showing your mind a new target to lock onto, a better filter, a stronger lens. You don't become powerful by thinking about being powerful. You become powerful by changing what your focus feeds on. Not drama, not fear, not imaginary arguments in the shower, but truth, stillness, direction. The mind will always wander. That's what it does. But training your focus is how you teach it to wander somewhere useful. Most people never realize how much energy they're bleeding out, not because life is too heavy, but because their focus is too scattered. It's like trying to read 5 books at once while answering texts, watching the news, replaying old arguments in your head, and still wondering why you feel overwhelmed before 10:18 CUM. Here's the twist. You might not even realize it's happening. Constant stimulation can feel productive. Scrolling through self-help, analyzing people's behavior, replaying what you should have said. It feels like movement, but it's not. It's noise dressed up as momentum, and all that noise is robbing you of your actual progress because your life can't move in any real direction if your focus is in 12 places at once, especially when most of those places don't even matter in the long run. You don't need more motivation, you need fewer distractions. You don't need to try harder. You need to stop feeding the emotional tabs running in the background of your mind like an overheating laptop. Focus isn't sexy. It's not loud or flashy. It's quiet, almost boring. But it's the single most underrated superpower you have. Because when your focus gets clean, your actions get clear. When your actions get clear, your life gets simple. And when your life gets simple, you finally get your energy back. You stop being emotionally exhausted by things that aren't even in your control. You stop checking for people who stop checking for you. You stop showing up in places that drain you just because your past self would have. That's the real shift. Not becoming someone new, but finally focusing on the version of you that's been buried under all the noise. It starts with attention, not intention, not goals, just attention. What are you actually feeding with your thoughts every day, and is it helping you or just keeping you busy? There's something really underrated about choosing what you don't give your focus to. You don't always have to heal it. You don't always have to solve it. Sometimes you just stop feeding it. Not everything deserves closure. Not every thought deserves a deep dive. Not every emotion needs to be processed into a 10-slide Instagram post. Some things lose their power the moment you stop assigning them. Importance. That's what maturity looks like. Not reacting to everything that tugs at your energy, just observing it, letting it pass, choosing not to make it your whole personality for the day. And here's the ironic part. When you stop giving so much attention to what's draining you, you finally have space to notice what's working. The things that used to feel invisible, your growth, your patience, your ability to say no, they start to shine a little brighter. Not because they changed, but because you actually made space to see them. Most people never get to that place. They stay stuck in a loop, constantly solving problems that don't need to be solved. They just need to be released. They chase validation, overanalyze silence, build stories out of shadows, and call it being self-aware. But real self-awareness isn't about overthinking your own misery. It's about realizing that where your focus goes, your identity grows. So, if you keep focusing on who you were when you were hurt, don't be surprised when healing feels impossible because you're not giving attention to the version of you that made it through. And that version is already here. You don't have to invent them. You just have to start looking in their direction. The shift isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable because it means you stop being the main character in your own drama and start being the quiet architect of your peace. Focus like that doesn't come with applause, but it comes with freedom. So here's your quiet reminder. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to choose what gets your energy and what doesn't, because that's the true power. Not reacting to everything, not trying to control every outcome, but getting really intentional about what's allowed to stay in your mental space. Most people let their focus get hijacked by things that won't even matter next week. They'll spend hours mentally chasing situations they'll never get closure from and then wonder why peace feels so far away. But you're not here to play that game anymore. You're here to make your focus expensive, to give your energy on purpose, not out of habit. And no, it won't be perfect. You'll slip, you'll overthink, you'll get sucked back in sometimes. But every time you return your focus to what actually builds you, you're rewiring something deeper than motivation. You're reclaiming your mind quietly, powerfully, daily. Now, if you made it this far, you're different. Most people tap out when the algorithm doesn't throw dopamine at them every 6 seconds, but you stayed. Comment "focused" in the comments too. Let me know you're one of the focused few. And if this kind of content feels like a reset button for your mind, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp and protect your peace like it's gold, because it is.